The GTA digs out from the biggest snowstorm in more than 3 years. The wintry weather shut down schools, suspended mail service, and caused a number of crashes. We're going to have more on this tonight.
And after tons of delays and cancellations because of yesterday's storm, there are long lines at Pearson Airport today. We're going to tell you why.
Plus, we take you to the White House this hour, where Donald Trump has announced reciprocal tariffs on almost every nation. What will he do next?
And mail delivery has been suspended across parts of the country, including Ontario today. Canada Post declares a red alert because of the stormy weather.
You're watching Live at 5.
Good evening. I'm Bakari Saab.
And I'm Lena Latafat. Thank you for joining us here on Live at 5. GTA residents, they are still cleaning up after yesterday's snowstorm. And while some had to brave the conditions, many got to enjoy a snow day.
Yeah, school was canceled for most students today. Some, they're going to get to enjoy an extended long weekend with a PA day tomorrow, Family Day on Monday. At least 26 centimeters of snow was recorded at Pearson Airport as of 9 this morning. That's the most snow that we've seen since January of 2022.
2 years ago, we had about 4 or 5 of these. Yeah. But I was here when they called the Army in, too. I remember those days, too. That was a lot of snow.
I didn't think it would be as much snow as it is. Yeah. Usually my wife gets a bad headache if there's going to be an actual storm. So really? I was like, nah, the storm's not going to come because she didn't have the headache. So wow. I woke up and I was surprised, yeah.
I'm going to dig out. Actually, I just saw so many more neighbors than I've ever seen. Probably at any point on, down the street, everyone helping each other out. It's really nice to see.
The city's director of transportation services provided an update on what the parking prohibition means.
10 o'clock last night, a prohibition of parking on all of our designated snow routes came into effect. And if you have a car there, it will be tagged. And as you said, 700 tickets have already been issued, and they are enforcing it today as well. The other possibility is towing, and we will be considering towing activations today. So we ask our residents, look for one of those street signs. It says snow route. It has a P that's crossed out. You'll find it up on our signposts, our utility poles. And in addition to that, we will be covering any of the paid parking machines so that there will be no opportunity to, in fact, try to pay for parking.
Long lines at Pearson Airport today, but it's not just the weather to blame.
Yeah, CP24's Sija Liu joins us live from Terminal 1 with this story. Sija.
Hi, Lena and Bakari. The reason for these major lines today is because of a staffing shortage when it comes to the security screening officers. A lot of the folks that we've been speaking with say they got to the airport 3-4 hours early, and that's how long they have been waiting in these lines. And for more on what the current situation is, I'm joined by Sean Davidson, a spokesperson for the airport. Sean, a lot of people today have been asking questions. Why is this happening? What is the latest update?
So the government agency that does our security screening, CATSA, they have had significant staffing issues today, which has led to these delays for passengers going through security screening at Terminal 1 and 3. We're seeing significant lines right now. Passengers are waiting upwards of 60 minutes or even more. But we're working with CATSA, we're working with all the agencies at the airport to get passengers on their way. But it is having an impact on some flights, which are being delayed.
And the big question a lot of people have right now is, when are things going to improve? What is the situation here as we head into the evening and into tomorrow?
Well, we're seeing lines. We're standing outside the international line right now. We're seeing this one is quite long right now, but the domestic one is getting shorter. We're working with CATSA to help them in any way that we can to get people moving as fast as possible, because that's ultimately our goal here at the airport. We don't want to see lines like this. So we're all working together to try and get everybody moving here.
Well, thanks so much, Sean. And we'll give you a better look at what the lines look at right now. So this is the line heading into the international and domestic flights. A lot of these folks have been waiting here for quite a bit now. Let's get some of their reaction. Hey, ma'am, do you mind me asking, how long have you been waiting in this line now?
Just over an hour.
Just over an hour.
Yeah, it was really long.
Have you experienced a lot of delays at all or cancellations when it comes to your trip?
Well, we don't know yet.
Yeah. Don't know, just waiting. Where are you headed off to today?
We're headed to actually eventually Vietnam and Cambodia.
Wow, a long way to go. Well, as you're hearing, people have been waiting in this line. And when it comes to cancellations and delays, take a look at the board right there. Tons of delays, cancellations. Right now, about 59% of flights are leaving on time. The remainder delayed and canceled. And we heard from a spokesperson earlier who said day 2 after a snowstorm is typically when the situation gets worse. There were delays and cancellations yesterday, but because of the domino effect, because of these staffing shortages, day 2 is usually when it's the worst. And a lot of the people we've been speaking with have been waiting in lines for 4 or 5 hours now. So Lena Bakari, the rule of thumb is to come to the airport 3 hours early, but today your best bet is to come here even earlier if you do have a flight later today or tomorrow.
Yeah, and these delays have been at both Terminals 1 and 3. It's CP24, Sija Liu reporting live from Pearson's Terminal 1. Thanks, Sija.
Well, the TTC is still recovering from all that snow. And for the latest on transit service, we're joined live by Adrian Grundy, Senior Communications Advisor for the TTC. Thank you for joining us, Adrian. What were the overnight and early morning hours like for the TTC, and what changes have you had to make?
Yeah, so today's really been a split screen of service recovery on the above ground and smooth sailing below the ground. So last night we were able to store our trains in the tunnels and run storm trains through the night after revenue service hours, and that allowed us to start service normally this morning. So that was smooth sailing there. Obviously above ground, a slightly different story. 25 centimetres of snow is a lot to deal with. And we've been digging out and ensuring our buses and our streetcars can run normally. I'm pleased to say that the 56 bus stops that we did have to take out earlier today are back in service, and our express routes are also have returned to express routes as well.
And, you know, when it comes to preparing for weather events like this, how would you rate how prepared the TTC was for this one?
Yeah, I think we were prepared very well. Winter storms are part of our regular planning. This is our third for the season, although it's our largest for the season. But we are out there with crews ahead of any snowstorm or any winter weather, de-icing, ensuring that our streetcar overhead power is in working condition. And of course, our switches and our signals are working as well. The challenge, of course, is in our bus routes and making sure that our operators and our customers are safe. And ensuring that we have smooth service. So we do align for additional buses. We put them out into local bus routes to make sure that people aren't waiting on the street for long periods of time between their bus, because obviously it slows everything down once the snow hits.
Okay, Adrian, really encouraging to hear that service for most bus routes has been restored. Anything you want riders to know as they head out tonight on day 2 of this storm?
Yeah, look, we're in good, clear conditions now. So with all those bus stops back in service, you should be free and clear and not have to worry about whether your stop will be serviceable or not. But it's always good to check ttc.ca before you travel. Check the live service updates, because there may be some local bus routes where roads are still blocked with sandbanks, etc., where we've had to detour around certain streets. So definitely check before you travel. But transit is the way to go because our system's running well, and we're now really clearing up our yards and our garages and making sure that we're ready for the next inbound snow coming this weekend.
Okay, Adrian Grundy, Senior Communications Advisor for the TTC. Thanks a lot. Well, from the TTC to the roads, let's check on the commute with CP24 traffic specialist Adrian Grundy.
You know, for the most part, you're getting a lot of areas that are moving lighter than normal, but there's a lot of areas where traffic isn't moving and there's still cleanup to do, and it's resulted in a situation on the southbound lanes of the 427. So it looks like this is the westbound Burnhamthorpe on-ramp to the southbound 427. It is completely closed. Had a vehicle go into the ditch. Can't see it because the bridge is blocking. It's right at the end of the ramp. A lot of emergency crews on scene. It looks like a lot of these on-ramps not completely salted or cleared of snow, which is creating for a slick, slippery condition and resulted in this problem. Long-standing issues do continue, but a sign that things are getting better. We had a transport which was in the ditch. They managed to get that truck out of the ditch, but the 2 right lanes are still blocked as you make your way through James Snow. That's why you're running into a delay from Highway 25. And on the westbound 401, not moving actually as you head on the approach to Huron, Ontario. That's where only the HOV lane is getting by on the westbound 401, just on the approach to Huron, Ontario, following a pretty serious collision, which has a number of lanes occupied. A reminder on the eastbound 401, if you're traveling out towards Highway 6 South, no access. The entire highway blocked for a serious multi-vehicle crash. I'll send it back to you both.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
Ajwa, thanks so much. Well, Canada Post is suspending mail service across much of Ontario because of this wintry weather.
The Crown Corporation has issued a red delivery service alert. That means that deliveries are suspended. There will be no mail collection in most regions. However, Canada Post says deliveries are still being made in Thunder Bay, Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins, and Kapuskasing. Canada Post says service will resume across Ontario once conditions improve. So residents and business owners, you're being asked clear snow and ice from your walkways, stairs, and driveways.
No trucks this morning were running or coming to the postal stations, so letter carriers were not on the route today. They had inside work. Every day, postal workers have challenges with slips and falls during the winter time, and days like this, even the delivery trucks couldn't get the mail to the stations.
The Canadian Union of Postal Workers says it expects deliveries will resume in the GTA tomorrow. So cleanup has gone pretty well, but we might have to do this all over again as another snowstorm could be hitting the GTA over the weekend. We'll keep you posted on that. You're watching Live at 5 on Toronto's Breaking News, CP24.
Ontario residents will head to the polls 2 weeks from today. We're going to have the latest from the campaign trail coming up. The provincial government's offering a $50,000 reward for information about a Sudbury teen who went missing nearly 12 years ago.
15-year-old Megan Pylon was last seen at her home in September 2013. Police say despite extensive searches, there has been no sign of her since. They do suspect foul play in her disappearance. Pylon is described as 5'10" with a slim build, brown hair and hazel eyes. She has a circular scar on her right cheek and a bunny tattoo on her left shoulder. Anybody with information is asked to contact the OPP or Crime Stoppers. Well, the latest now from the Ontario election campaign. Nightly polling by Nanos for CTV shows the Liberals lost some ground while the PC party widened its lead.
So according to the latest numbers, the PCs have 45.5% support. That's up a full point from the previous poll. Meanwhile, support for the Liberals dropped 2.5% to just below 30%. The New Democrats, they're up nearly 0.5% to 16.9%. While the Greens joined almost 1.5 points to 6.5%.
Yeah, a bit of a gain there for the Greens. Now, when it comes to who will be premier, support for Doug Ford remains unchanged at 40.6% support, followed by Bonnie Crombie at 26.2% and Marit Stiles at 14.4%. Green Party leader Mike Schreiner gained some ground again with 7.5% support. Election day in this province is coming up 2 weeks from today. February 27th, that's the date to mark in your calendar. Advanced polls will be open from the 20th to the 22nd.
And Chief Data Scientist Nick Nanos tells CP24 that Doug Ford has been more visible because of the tariff threats.
Donald Trump's in the news so much, it really crowds out. And, Doug Ford, piggybacking on the Trump news story, basically dominates the news waves because it's hard for both Crombie and Stiles and Schreiner to get in the news because everybody's focused on Donald Trump, and then Doug Ford is connecting and being proactive on that. So it's definitely not hurting them, that's for sure, at this particular point in time.
And Liberal leader Bonnie Crombie spoke in the small community of Elmvale, that is near Barrie, to highlight the need for more family doctors.
You have a choice in this election. You can vote for a Liberal government, and I pledge to you today that you will have a family doctor in the next 4 years. And that will, of course, eliminate hallway medicine and reduce the wait times in our hospitals. Or you can vote for Doug Ford and the Conservative government and have a fantasy tunnel.
Well, Ontario Green Party leader Mike Schreiner was in Caledon this morning. That's where he met with groups that oppose Highway 413. Schreiner committed to canceling the project, which he says would only save drivers 30 to 60 seconds.
Let's be clear. Highway 413 is an environmental and financial disaster. It would pave over 2,000 acres of prime farmland in Ontario, threatening our $50 billion food and farming economy and our food security at a time when we're facing tariff threats. We need to be investing in food security.
And NDP leader Marit Stiles visited Sudbury today to unveil her platform for Northern Ontario, which included measures aimed at addressing high food prices.
Our monthly grocery rebate is going to give back $122 a month to families who need it the most. I think it's a game changer for a lot of people out there. But we're also going to go after unfair grocery pricing by forcing the big grocery CEOs to tell you when they raise prices more than 2%. You know, just like when you post the ads up that say, you know, this is going on sale. Well, if you're going to raise prices by more than 2%, you're going to have to post about that and explain it too.
And PC leader Doug Ford was in Washington, D.C. and has no campaign event scheduled today.
Let's focus on restoring the pride of Made in the USA and Made in Canada. Let's be unapologetic.
NDP leader Marit Stiles has written to the Integrity Commissioner to ask him to review Ford's trip to Washington, D.C. Ford and the country's other premiers were in Washington this week to try and call Trump away from putting tariffs on Canada. Stiles believes Ford utilized that trip for partisan purposes and wants the Integrity Commissioner to investigate.
Well, look, as soon as we noticed that and called him out, a little while later, they took it down. If that isn't a sure sign of guilt, I don't know what is. You know, look, the Integrity Commissioner has been very clear about this. They were not to use that event for partisan purposes. He turned around and did it right away. We will be asking Elections Ontario and the Integrity Commissioner to look into this. Absolutely.
Doug Ford plays fast and loose with the rules. He understands that he's breaking the caretaker convention. In fact, he didn't come to Ottawa during the 2022 election during a tornado because he said he couldn't. He couldn't attend because it was during an election. But now he's traveled to Washington.
And for the latest on the provincial election campaign, just head to CP24.com and the CP24 app.
You're watching Live at 5 on Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
And coming up, U.S. President Donald Trump has unveiled his plan for reciprocal tariffs. More on this next.
Well, the federal NDP appears to be getting ready for an early election.
An internal memo obtained by the Canadian press has the NDP's national campaign director telling party candidates and their campaign staff to prepare for a federal election call to come as early as March 10th. The document says officials within the party believe that it's likely that former central banker Mark Carney is going to win the Liberal leadership race and that there are rumors he plans to call a snap election the very next day.
And Mark Carney spoke to reporters in Vancouver today, but didn't specify when he might call an election if he does win.
You never take a decision before you need to take a decision. And so nothing is pre-wired. Let's see what the situation is in the middle of March and do what is best for Canadians. And the government will do what's best for Canadians. If Parliament needs to be recalled for certain reasons, it will be. If it makes sense to get a strong mandate at that point, that is what will follow.
Well, the memo also accuses the Liberals of trying to use a potential trade war with the U.S. for political benefit.
To the White House now, where U.S. President Donald Trump unveiled his plan to place reciprocal tariffs on America's trading partners today.
And Trump says that he'll increase duties to match the tax rates that other countries charge on U.S. imports. The tariffs could be imposed within weeks as Trump's economic team studies bilateral trade relationships. The Trump administration says reciprocal tariffs will level the playing field between American manufacturers and foreign competitors, but U.S. consumers will likely pay for the new taxes in the form of higher prices.
Are prices going to go up short-term,
well,
long-term?
Not necessarily. I mean, not necessarily, but I'll tell you what will go up is jobs. The jobs will go up tremendously. We're going to have great jobs for everybody. This is something that should have been done many years ago. China did it. I mean, China did it at a level that probably nobody's ever seen before. If you manufactured a car, you couldn't send it into China. The tariff was so high, so everybody went and they built in China. It was no big secret. So we're going to see, but it's going to mean tremendous amounts of jobs.
The hike on tariffs could also send shockwaves through the global economy, which could push down growth and cause inflation to intensify.
It's 5:24, holding at 4 below zero. This is Live at 5.
The 2025 Canadian International Auto Show officially gets underway tomorrow.
And the media got a sneak peek today. Before it opens to the public, car enthusiasts can browse the latest models from dozens of automakers, test their off-road skills at Camp Jeep, and check out some of the rarest and most exotic supercars and try out a range of electric cars on the EV test track. For the younger fans, the Lego Group is back with the display featuring a play area and a life-size McLaren P1 made out of Legos.
We've been growing. Last year we had a record year, 371,000 people attending. But this year we've got 5 more brands coming back, including Mercedes behind us. It was one of the most requested brands, and it's fantastic to have such an influx of new vehicles, and so many wanted to see brands coming back to the show.
And Mercedes-Benz is returning to the Toronto show for the first time in 5 years and will have 9 historic vehicles on display.
We showcase our specific brands like AMG, Maybach, and also the G-Wagon. It's all different brand names and different approaches to luxury, to luxury experience. Yeah, that's what we do.
And the Canadian International Auto Show opened at noon tomorrow at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre. It'll be open from 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day after that until Sunday, February 23rd. Tickets for the show, as well as combo tickets, which include a round-trip GO train ticket and show admission, can all be bought online.
5:28 minus 4. This is Live at 5.
It's a snow day in the GTA. We are live at Centennial Park in Etobicoke. This is where, look, people are enjoying the snow. We're going to have the latest on the cleanup and aftermath of the most snow we've received since January 2022. The GTA digs out from the biggest snowstorm in more than 3 years. The wintry weather shut down schools, suspended mail service, and caused a number of crashes.
And after tons of delays and cancellations because of yesterday's storm, there are very long lines at Pearson Airport today. Check out this live shot. We're going to have more on what's going on.
And Doug Ford's in hot water tonight over his trip with other premiers to Washington. Opposition parties say that trip is being used for partisan purposes during the election campaign. The Integrity Commissioner is now investigating.
Plus, we take you to the White House this hour, where Donald Trump has announced reciprocal tariffs on almost every nation. What will he do next?
This is Live at 5.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Lena Latafat.
And I'm Bakari Savage. GTA residents are still cleaning up after yesterday's snowstorm. While some had to brave the conditions and do the hard work, a lot got to enjoy a snow day.
Yeah, this is a live look tonight at the tobogganing hill at Centennial Park in Etobicoke. School was canceled for most students today. That's why this shot is so busy. And some will get to enjoy an extended long weekend with a PA day tomorrow and Family Day on Monday. What a treat for the kids. At least 26 centimeters of snow was recorded at Pearson Airport as of 9 o'clock this morning. It is the most snow we have received since January 2022. Look at them go.
Very cold and very hard to take off of the ground. But I mean, you can play and throw at your friends and stuff. And my brother.
Gets to have fun with the kids, especially their school. We're home alone doing all the snow shoveling.
And yes, it's fun doing it with the family.
You get these warnings from Environment Canada, and sometimes they just don't seem to pan out. And well, this time I think maybe Environment Canada got the last laugh on me. But it's truly a real Canadian winter this year, that's for sure.
And the city's Director of Transportation Services provided an update on snow clearing operations and when to call 311 for extra service.
The message is that, yes, possibly tomorrow, we suggest that if you feel that there is a need for further service, that you could at that point call 311. And 311 will start recording a service request. At this point, we're still not accepting service requests at 311, either through a phone call or through their apps, because our crews are still active and will be throughout the day into the evening. But I would say that tomorrow, if there is some need, whether it be another round of salting, another round of plowing, please give us a call and we will ensure that we'll have somebody go out, inspect it, and do whatever is necessary.
And if you are exhausted from the cleanup, you may want to brace yourself. Another snowstorm could be hitting the GTA over the weekend, so we're not done just yet. Environment Canada says Toronto could receive anywhere from 15 to 25 centimetres of snow over Saturday and Sunday, so don't put those shovels away.
Yeah, along with that, long lines at Pearson Airport today, but it's not just the weather to blame.
CP24's Sija Liu joins us live from Terminal 1 with the latest on this story. Sija.
Lena Bakari, the main reason for the massive lineups at Pearson Airport today is because of a staffing shortage with the CATSA, that is a Canadian Air Transport Security Authority. This is the group that is responsible for security screening and baggage. So those employees, there aren't enough employees today, and that's why there are these huge lines. I'm standing here inside Terminal 1. The delays are affecting Terminal 1 and Terminal 3. At the peak, we were talking to people who were waiting in line for 5-6 hours just to get to the front of the line. Take a listen to what the airport spokesperson said to us earlier about how they're trying to handle this situation into the evening hours.
We are continuing to work with CATSA to help them resolve their staffing issues, and also across the entire airport ecosystem, everybody's working together to get people on their way. We're going to see the delays continue through the afternoon, and then hopefully through the evening they decrease. But as of right now, we're seeing these delays. It's taking about passengers about 60 minutes to get through security.
A lot of the people that we've been talking to say they are even making some friends in line after waiting for so long. And sir, where are you flying to today?
Going to Ottawa eventually. Yep.
So what are
started off in Scotland, then Ireland, then here in Toronto, and my flight was actually supposed to leave at 5:20, but now it's delayed for another couple of hours. But I mean, you were never going to get through this huge lineup just to get through security as well. It's fun times here in Toronto, I guess.
What is your game plan tonight? Right now, we can't really even see the front of the line. What is your plan for this?
I don't know. I mean, I think everybody else is in the same boat here. I mean, what do? You just got to go with it. I mean, I don't think anybody's even got seats assigned for their flights tonight. So we're all just trying to get through security and get to the gate and then see what happens. I mean, and that'll be pretty much it, I would say. So might be sleeping on a chair. You never know.
It seems like a lot of the people are on the same boat as you. And just to give you a better perspective of this line right now, it really stretches across the entire terminal. It's a bit confusing. A lot of folks not sure where to go, where to stand. And in terms of delays, there are 482 departures from Pearson Airport. As of right now, just 56% of those flights are on time, 23% delayed, 21% canceled. So a long flight tonight, a long line in order to get into your flight tonight, and it doesn't look like the situation is improving just yet. Lena Bakari?
Can't remember the last time Pearson was this busy. Sija Liu, live for us this evening. Thanks so much, Sija. Let's get a check on the drive. Adjoa and Cia Bois has been following conditions all day for us. She joins us live now. What is the latest from your traffic cams. Ash.
Yeah, still seeing a lot of problems, Lena, and still the cleanup is happening. So a lot of surface routes on and off ramps and left and right lanes of highways are still being impacted from the storm, which impacted us last night and into the early morning. So we had a collision here where a truck went into the ditch. This is the eastbound 401 at Jamestown Parkway. Most of the vehicles are gone, but I think they're waiting for Salters before they let those two right lanes be accessible again. But it is creating a backlog all the way back towards Highway 25. And then some brand new problems. Had a vehicle spin out. This is the 401 westbound on the approach to Warden in the Express. Find that left lane and shoulder blocked with this situation. From that point, busy in sections out to approaching here, Ontario. Still only the HOV lane getting by following the serious collision involving a truck and a vehicle, which ended up driving underneath the truck because of slick road conditions. And if you're on the southbound 404 DVP, thought I spotted something through Shepherd. I haven't. It's really jammed, and it's not a typical rush hour, so going to keep checking to see if I spot something. If I do, I'll let you know. Outside of camera view in Clarington, a reminder, westbound 401 at Liberty Street, we are still dealing with that collision from this morning. It's the two right lanes that are occupied. I'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Adge.
You're welcome.
Well, Canada Post is suspending mail service across much of Ontario because of the storm.
The Crown Corporation has issued a red delivery service alert. That means deliveries are suspended and there will be no mail collection in most regions. However, Canada Post says deliveries are still being made in Thunder Bay, Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins, and Kapuskasing. Canada Post says service will resume across Ontario once conditions improve. Residents and business owners are being asked to clear snow and ice from their walkways, stairs, and driveways.
We raised concerns this morning to Canada Post to make sure that they are aware of the conditions and they should be doing this red delivery alert, which was done, but it's not done very often. We may see it once a year in Toronto, if so, but it's only in extreme conditions. We all saw commuting ourselves to work today. It was not passable. Trucks driving a tractor trailer on the QEW, on the Gardner, it's very hard on the 401. On a given day, on a regular day in Toronto, it's very difficult for these drivers to do their work. But on days like this, it's virtually impossible.
And the Canadian Union of Postal Workers says that it expects deliveries will resume in the GTA tomorrow.
It's 5:39, -4 out there. You're watching Live at 5.
And coming up, why Doug Ford is in hot water tonight over his trip with other premiers to Washington. Well, PC leader Doug Ford's facing fresh backlash on the campaign trail over his trip to Washington.
We're live now to CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris with more on this story. So, Siobhan, an official complaint has now been filed with the Integrity Commissioner, and both the Liberals and NDP really trying to nail Doug Ford on this.
They have been saying from the beginning that they think that we are in a weird place, that Doug Ford called this election ultimately to really capitalize on the tariff fight, an election they say was unnecessary. And they say that they aren't convinced that he could separate his two jobs, political candidate and Ontario Premier. We have seen some possible evidence of that today. Really at issue here is this video that was posted to Doug Ford's Twitter account or X account this morning. It had highlights of that two-day trip to Washington where he was appearing with other premiers advocating Ontario and Canada's case against tariffs. But at the very end, the last slate of that video was the slogan, Protect Ontario, and the PC party logo. Protect Ontario is their campaign logo, and that is what is causing so much concern, questions, and a request for an investigation. Here's more of what we heard from opposition leaders today.
Doug Ford plays fast and loose with the rules. He understands that he's breaking the caretaker convention. In fact, he didn't come to Ottawa during the 2022 election during a tornado because he said he couldn't. He couldn't attend because it was during an election. But now he's traveled to Washington.
It has never been more clear that Doug Ford will do anything and everything it takes to hold on to power for power's sake. He has only called this election to save his own job. And I think Ontarians see through that. They know that the issues that they care about are issues that have gotten worse under his watch after 7 years.
Okay.
The Integrity Commissioner had told Doug Ford that it was okay to go on that trip as long as the trip wasn't used for any partisan gain, and that's really what the opposition leaders are questioning now.
Siobhan, how have the tariff threats made this election cycle different?
It really has pulled, I think, attention away from the issues you typically see discussed in an Ontario provincial campaign. I can't really think of another one that's been where you've had international trade policy really be at the center of what's discussed on a daily basis. You expect things like healthcare, education to really be at the center of a campaign. For the PCs, the last few times it's been about infrastructure and building. So this is certainly unusual, and it's really been, I think, difficult for opposition parties to maintain focus on the issues, the core issues facing Ontarians that they'd like to be talking about.
Siobhan, I heard you say that the Integrity Commissioner did clear Doug Ford to take this trip with other premiers. Just curious, who's paying for it, for this trip to Washington?
It is split. So the PC party did cover the flight there. Some of the events were covered by the PC party, but we do know that some taxpayer money did go to the speech that the Premier gave on his first day of that trip.
Okay.
All right, CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief, Siobhan Morris. Thanks a lot. Always a pleasure.
You're welcome.
Siobhan. Well, the latest nightly polling by Nanos for CTV shows the Liberals lose some ground while the PC party widened its lead.
According to the latest numbers, the PCs have 45.5% support. That's up a full point from the previous poll. Meanwhile, support for the Liberals dropped 2.5% to just below 30%. The New Democrats, they're up nearly 0.5% to 16.9%, while the Greens gained almost a point and a half at 6.5%.
Now, when it comes to who Ontarians want to see as Premier, support for Doug Ford remained unchanged at 40.6% support, while Bonnie Crombie sits at 26.2% support, Marit Stiles at 14.4%. Green Party leader Mike Schreiner did gain some ground on this front as well. He is sitting at 7.5% support, according to this latest poll. Election Day, as we keep reminding you, is in about 2 weeks. February 27th, that's the date to keep in mind, and advanced polls will be open from the 20th to the 22nd.
Well, Chief Data Scientist Nick Nanos tells CP24 that Doug Ford has been more visible because of the threat of tariffs.
Crombie's still significantly back at around 26 and Stiles at 14, but that Ford hasn't made a mistake in this particular election. He's been focused on why he called the election when it comes to dealing with Donald Trump and the tariffs. He's been proactive, and you know what? Premiers or party leaders don't usually go out of the country during a provincial election. Well, you know what? He went down to Washington as part of the group of premiers that are looking to advocate for Canada and its response on the tariffs.
And Ontario Green Party leader Mike Schreiner was in Caledon today, where he met with groups that oppose Highway 413. He's committed to scrapping the project altogether, which he says would only save drivers 30 to 60 seconds.
It would rip through the Greenbelt. It would pave over wetlands that are there to clean our drinking water and protect us from the increasing frequency and severity of climate-fueled flooding events. I'm just thinking about last summer. The 3 hours of rain that hit the GTA cost $4 billion, $1.3 billion an hour worth of damage.
Liberal leader Bonnie Crombie spoke in the small community of Elmville, which is near Barrie, to highlight the need for more family doctors. She also talked about Doug Ford's record on health care.
He's had 7 years to make a difference. He's had 7 years to invest in our healthcare system, and he didn't get it done. But this is my one commitment to people, that I will work tirelessly to ensure that you have a family doctor. I will do other things, yes, lower your taxes, build affordable housing, and make your life more affordable. But my pledge to you is that you will vote Liberal and you will have a family doctor within 4 years.
And NDP leader Marit Stiles visited Sudbury today to unveil her platform for Northern Ontario, which includes measures aimed at helping more people in that region access health care.
I think Northerners deserve better than what they've gotten from Doug Ford. And that's why, as Premier, I'm going to hire 200 family doctors and 150 specialists all across Northern Ontario. We're going to double residency spots at the Northern Ontario School of Medicine University. Yeah. And we're also going to bring back the midwifery program to Sudbury, right? So that families, yeah, because families need to have have the care families need to have the care they need right here at home.
And the federal NDP appears to be getting ready for an early election.
An internal memo obtained by the Canadian press has the NDP's national campaign director telling party candidates and their campaign to prepare for a federal election call to come as early as March 10th. The document says officials within the party believe it's likely that former central banker Mark Carney is going to win the Liberal leadership race and that there are rumors he plans to call a snap election the very next day. So what is Mark Carney saying about this? Well, he spoke to reporters in Vancouver today. He didn't really talk about whether or not he might call an election if he wins.
You never take a decision before you need to take a decision. And so nothing is pre-wired. Let's see what the situation is in the middle of March and do what is best for Canadians. And the government will do what's best for Canadians. If Parliament needs to be recalled for certain reasons, it will be. If it makes sense to get a strong mandate at that point, that is what will follow.
Well, the memo also accuses the Liberals of trying to use a potential trade war with the U.S. for political benefit.
You're watching Live at 5, still to come.
The U.S. President Donald Trump has unveiled his plan for reciprocal tariffs. More on this next. U.S. President Donald Trump unveiled his plan to place reciprocal tariffs on America's trading partners today.
Trump says he'll increase duties to match the tax rates that other countries charge on U.S. imports. The tariffs could be imposed within weeks as Trump's economic team studies bilateral trade relationships. The Trump administration says reciprocal tariffs will level the playing field between American manufacturers and foreign competitors, but U.S. consumers will likely pay for the new taxes in the form of higher taxes.
Well, I think what's going to go up is jobs are going to go up, and prices could go up somewhat short term, but prices will also go down. And I think the farmers are going to be helped by this very much because product is being dumped into our country, and our farmers are getting hurt very badly by the last administration. The last administration hated our farmers, like at a level that I've never seen before. I think our farmers are going to be helped.
And the hike on tariffs could also send shockwaves through the world economy, which could push down growth and cause inflation to intensify.
Well, a prominent vaccine skeptic is now America's top public health official.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was sworn in as health secretary today. Kennedy was confirmed in a close Senate vote amid concerns about his stance on vaccinations and health policy. The 71-year-old was part of a nonprofit that sued vaccine makers during the COVID pandemic and used social media to erode trust in vaccines. And Kennedy has denied being an anti-vaxxer, claiming that he's pro-safety.
5:54 minus 4. This is Live at 5.
The Canadian International Auto Show gets underway tomorrow, but we have a preview coming up. The 2025 Canadian International Auto Show officially gets underway tomorrow.
And the media got a sneak peek today before it opens to the public. Car enthusiasts can browse the latest models from dozens of automakers, test their off-road skills at Camp Jeep, check out some of the rarest and most exotic supercars, and try out a range of electric cars on the EV test track. I feel like you would love this, Bakari. For the younger car fans, not saying you're not young, Bakari, the Lego Group returns with a display featuring a play area and a life-size McLaren P1 made out of Lego.
We've got over 50 vehicles available to test. We've got 22 cars you can test right here on the indoor test track in the South Building. And then, we've got about another 28 cars that you can test drive out and around different areas of the show. BMW has their own test drive. Mini has a test drive. Tesla, Polestar. We've got Stellantis with different vehicles for testing. Volvo, Kia. There's a huge plethora. Never had more vehicles available for testing here at the show in any one year.
And the Canadian International Auto Show opens at noon tomorrow at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre. Then it's going to be open from 10:30 a.m. until 9 p.m. every day. After that, until Sunday, February 23rd. Tickets for the show, as well as combo tickets, which include a round-trip GO train ticket and show admission, can all be bought online.
You're watching Toronto's breaking news, CP24. We leave you with a live look tonight at Centennial Park in Etobicoke. It was a snow day for many, and we're not done with that snowfall just yet.
Absolutely right, because another snowstorm could be hitting the GTA over the weekend. Environment Canada says that Toronto could receive anywhere from 15 to 25 centimeters of snow over Saturday and Sunday. Thank you for watching. CTV News at 6 is next.